we're here this afternoon to look at the first aid kits. There's a couple here that have been put together commercially. There's no reason why you can't put one together yourself if you think through carefully what you might need. Let's take a look at the one on the left here, the larger one. The most important thing in first aid is how we're going to deal with the unconscious patient. And we might well have to do some resuscitation, some mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and that can be slightly unpleasant with secretions and so on. So one of the most important things is to have a face shield in the pack. This will make your job a lot less unpleasant. It's a simple sheet of plastic that goes over the face, nicely drawn on so we know exactly where to put it. And if you can't remember what to do in a resuscitation situation, it even tells you at the bottom. So place this over the patient and we'll be blowing into the mouth through the screen here, which lets through the air but provides some resistance to viruses and bacteria, so it gives us some protection. That's very important. If a resuscitation succeeds and the patient is lying waiting for the ambulance for some time, they might well get cold. And a thermal blanket can be very useful, like foil wrap, to keep them warm. Another situation that commonly occurs would be some sort of bleeding, a laceration or an abrasion. First thing to do is to think about yourself. You don't want to get an infection by trying to deal with the situation. So we must have some gloves in the pack that we can use to protect ourselves. Just simple plastic gloves to slip on. If we want to stop the bleeding, we're going to need some gauze, some sterile gauze to press on the wound. Easy to open pack, apply to the bleeding spot and press. Pressure is the answer to nearly all bleeding. Keep on pressing, be patient, bleeding usually stops. There are some other tricks to help stop the bleeding. The pack comes with some paraffin, some white sock paraffin or Vaseline, which you can smear on, and that can often help the blood bleeding stop. There's also, in one of the packs, a congealer. A wound congealer. It's just a spray that does the same thing, to be sprayed on the wound like so. You might want to try and clean up the wound, and in this pack we've got some wipes, some alcohol-free wipes that we can use just to clean the area up. Remember, wounds in a sports setting often are dirty, have soil in them and so on, and so reasonable attention to hygiene will help to have effective healing. A more definitive dressing can be applied afterwards, and various types of adhesive plasters come in these packs of different sizes. There are some other tricks that we might use to stop bleeding. If there is a small laceration and you're having job to stop the bleeding, you can use these small sterile strips which come out on a sheet, can peel back and use the strip to bring the two wound edges together. Another situation that we come across regularly in sport is a twisting injury, a sprain to a joint, or a contusion, a bruising, perhaps from a blow, a ball hitting a thigh or something like that. One of the most effective ways of reducing the pain in these circumstances would be to apply something cold. Now, it might be that you can get some ice and crush it from the bar in the clubhouse, but that may not be that convenient, and a quick, rapid way of getting a cold effect would be to use one of these cold packs. And the instructions tell you what to do. You simply have to press firmly in the centre, breaking the seal inside, and the pack soon becomes very cold, and we apply that to the wound. If we're confident that there's no abrasion or laceration, we can use a freeze spray. Surely you've seen these used. Just a normal spray onto the area, and that soon cools it down. And you have to repeat this at short intervals to keep the area cold. And after the works are done and we've packed everything back into our first aid kit, we need to consider what we've actually used and that which needs replacing. Obviously here we've taken out our resuscitation seal and we wouldn't want to use that again. We need to restock our gauze. Now I would suggest at your club somebody is responsible for making sure that the first aid kit is always fully prepared for any eventuality. Don't forget that dehydration causes a lot of the problems in sport, so on a hot summer's day make sure that all your players drink adequate amount of fluid.